unapologetic, we're bold and we're loud, shining light on the less shady crowd. Oreo Express, rolling down the track, exposing the lies, ain't no turning back. Conservative fire, we're speaking the truth. At Oreo Express, this one's for you. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of the Oreo Express. Let's roll, let's go. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express, let's roll.
Every day about the products you all wish My Pillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard My Pillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use My Pillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Per Kale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all My Pillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard My Pillows absolutely free.
Let me check something. Okay, we got an echo. That's not good. That's not good. Welcome back, guys. Oreo Express. It is Monday, June 23rd. I'm going to see if I can get that echo fixed right now. What did I do to change that? Let me make sure I'm good. 23rd. I'm going to see if I can. Okay, we're good on my audio. Welcome. Well, we got some stuff going on this morning, guys. Went ahead and went live a few minutes early because there was talk about possible strikes, and it now looks like Iran, and we're trying to confirm everything, has sent some missiles to one of our air bases. So let me try something. Okay, let me try this. Okay, give me 1 second. Just trying to see if I can turn off some of the audio sources. Okay.
I hear every day about the products you all wish My Pillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard My Pillows for
we're going to have to deal with it during this show, and we'll see if we can fix it in the next show. Anybody complains, just ban them forever.
For only $14.98.
I'll figure out what the issue is. I told you guys we got to update the program, and that program will allow us to do a lot. We haven't brought any guests on because we got rid of the program we were using to go over to Rumble Studio. And the program that works with Rumble Studio is it's going to cost about $70 a month for 2 different memberships. So it'll work For a regular thing is about like $48 a month, and then to buy this service to have guests on is about another $20. So, thank you. Old Uncle Bill says, I guess Iran has not had enough spankings yet. Yeah, you have to wonder, right? You have to wonder. Oh, you know what? I think I just fixed it. I think I just fixed it. Let's check that out. I'm going to do this one more time. I think we are good. I seen why we have the echo. That was an easy fix. I think I just fixed it.
$29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi.
We are good. We are good. We had to get engineer Josh in the house, sound engineer. Once again, thank you for tuning in. So moments ago, and we're going to go through a whole lot of stuff. I already had the show wrapped up, but I do want you guys to know that, let's see, that about 45 minutes ago, the United States issued a shelter-in-place order for Americans in Qatar. Qatar has closed their airspace. And it said this was again from an hour ago. Sorry. Comes amid possible imminent attacks from Iran. Satellite pictures showed that some of the missiles were pointing from Iran in that direction. Then shortly after that, President Trump was assembling his National Security Council in the Oval Office. As that attack was imminent. And then we also had about 7 minutes ago, at least, I don't know, I'm looking now, but Axios reported that missiles were launched. And again, we'll be covering the news this morning, covering this stuff going on, and we'll let you know how it turns out. Let me see if there was any updates. And then we're going to kind of give you a timeline. We got probably two pretty big shows today. Yes, it is confirmed 6 minutes ago. Iran's launching missiles at U.S. bases in Iraq, in addition to Qatar. Maximum alert status declared. Ordered issues to take shelter in bunkers for all those air bases in Iraq. Take a minute to pray for our troops, folks. We just ask for the hedge of protection on our troops and that God guides them. And again, this is, let's see, this is one of those. Iran has launched missiles at Qatar. This is one of those missiles. Looks like, now this is, again, this is what we were worried about, was a retaliation. I don't think we'll get into a ground war. I think we have some pretty powerful stuff that will allow us to take care of this threat in the air. This is breaking. Patriot air defense system in Qatar is actively intercepting Iranian ballistic missiles. Take a look at this. This is live. This was just moments ago. So again, that video you were watching, I'm going to bookmark that, is Patriot air defense system in Qatar actively intercepting Iranian ballistic missiles. Let me put this out since we're live. So let's see what else is coming up, and then we'll get into the show, and then we'll cover everything that's going on. Let's see. 12 minutes ago. Happening now, approximately. This was Iran reportedly launched 6 missiles towards the U.S. airbase in Qatar. Interceptors were launched in response. So, I mean, we've been prepared for this.
لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله. Southwest, coming from the direction of Al-Udaid. Windows are shaking. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. Probably Patriot. لا.
So, I don't know how long.
Now, major cases of GPS jamming in Qatar and other Gulf states. Iran is bombing Qatar. Let's bring in now Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. You and I started talking about this about more than an hour ago now. Are we where your sources are telling you that we thought we'd be? Have we gone someplace that we're at least prepared to deal with?
Well, Harris, right now, what we can tell from open source reporting on Twitter, you can see imagery of about what we're told from Israeli sources are 6 ballistic missiles that have been fired from Iran towards Qatar. As you know, as we discussed, the Al Udeid base, the largest U.S. Base in the Middle East, is about 40 miles from the capital of Qatar, from Doha. You can see the night skies over Doha right now, and there are explosions in the air. Some of those may be air defense missiles, Patriot missiles, trying to intercept those ballistic missiles. We have no indications of impact at this point. As you and I discussed before, there were satellite images from last week of Al Udeid, where the U.S. normally has a large number of transport planes, refueling planes, that those tarmacs had been emptied of those warplanes. But Al Udeid normally would have 10,000 U.S. troops based there. There had been warnings to U.S. embassy staff to shelter in place and at other embassies across Doha. We also now are learning that the airspace over UAE, the United Arab Emirates, where the United States military has another large military base, that airspace has been closed. And we also understand there could be an imminent threat to U.S. troops and personnel at bases in Iraq. That, if you remember, just 5 years ago, Iran fired ballistic missiles, dozens of them at U.S. troops in the wake of Qasem Soleimani's killing. So a lot of intelligence warnings. We brought it to you on air just a little while ago, and now it seems that those explosions are being heard over the capital of Qatar.
So, again, we'll find you some more video here. I didn't expect it to happen this way. We got a whole show ready to go, but it looks like we're going to stay on this for a moment. Let's see what else we can find. This should take the cake for news today, I guess, though, right? I'll give you some different reports and how different places are reporting it. Democrat media. Iran says it's launched an attack. This is from the Associated Press. Iran says it's launched an attack on U.S. forces at Qatar's Al Udeid Air Base. So we're kind of aware of that. Air defense. This is that video again, or a different video of our air defense system intercepting those missiles. We're going to be seeing videos like that. Let's see. No, still no reports on impact at any of our bases yet. Here's that long. That's our Patriot.
Allahu Akbar. Madam.
Pray for our soldiers. Pray for our soldiers. We have an excellent military. We have excellent equipment. And they think the other day was bad. I think they got another thing coming. Let's see. See if there's some other videos. You know what? Let me type this in and see if we can get some. Sorry, I had to kick that up. There's got to be some new videos out here. So they knew this was coming. They knew this was coming. That's why they closed the airspace before they launched this attack. Again, we'll show you.
Allahu Akbar. Madam. Allahu Akbar. Madam.
I'm telling you right now, this will be we will launch strikes like never seen before now. That button has been pushed. I can absolutely guarantee it. Let's see what we're getting here. Get some updates. Can't wait for the sympathizers like Ian Omar to stand with Iran right now. That was 19, according to U.S. officials. Iran has now a position that's old. Just trying to get some updates. Listen to this.
Yeah, so we just sat here. We're in Qatar at the moment. The airspace has been closed, and we've just literally felt everything shake. About 20 different impacts. The whole ground was shaking. As people who are pushing for World War III need to sort their heads out. It's not helping anybody. I'm telling you, I'm somebody who's been to war zones
So that's
all over the
somebody
world.
that's on the ground right there. Let's see what else we have. Again, we're pulling this up live as it comes to you. So their statement is we have struck the American airbase in Qatar. I'm not going to pull up those pictures because I can't confirm. Let's see what this is.
To get to this, we'll come back. We are getting reports Iran has launched 6 missiles over United States bases in Qatar. I'm looking now, major cases of GPS jamming in Qatar and other Gulf states. Iran is bombing Qatar. Let's bring in now Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. You and I started talking about this about more than an hour ago now. Are we where your sources are telling you that we thought we'd be? Have we gone someplace?
We watched that earlier. I want to get over here and now remember, over a week ago, they removed a lot of our military equipment from these bases that they are striking right now. This one right here says just in some reports, 3 Iranian missiles made impact on the American airbase in Qatar. Let's see.
فرج اول ضربه اول ضربه
Let's get the other one. Just in. Let's go back up to the top of the news really quick. Again, if you guys are just joining us, thank you for joining the Oreo Express. We are here covering what appears to be the attack on U.S. air bases by Iran. It started probably about 20 minutes ago. We're trying to give you some update. U.S. fighter jets scramble from Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. So it's also President Trump is in the White House Situation Room monitoring Iran's retaliation as U.S. fighter jets scramble from Saudi Arabia. I have a feeling you're going to see some of the biggest bombs you've ever seen dropped on Iran. That's not news. Breaking. Breaking. Bahrain and Kuwait bases now have active air sirens going off. That was
attack. The second is that sirens are sounding not just a massive attack that was launched by and unprecedented attack launched by the U.S. Again, we're getting this from Iranian state TV, but we have 3 new pieces of information that I want to get your reaction to. One is this attack. The second is that sirens are sounding not just at that base, but in Bahrain and Kuwait as well. And you have the president, defense secretary, and other key members of the administration in the Situation Room.
Well, the report that was that there were half a dozen missiles, and we don't know how accurate that.
See what else we can pull up right now. Yeah, reports of 3 direct hits on the U.S. airbase in Qatar. No initial reports of U.S. casualties. Both Joint Chiefs Chair General Kane, Raisin Kane, and Secretary Hegseth, Pete Hegseth, are in the Situation Room right now monitoring potential Iranian retaliation, which we are seeing right now. Let's see. Looking for updated videos here.
Have we gone someplace that we're at least?
Everybody keeps sharing the same stuff. I'm looking for something new over here.
To be stationed there. The base is also host to U.S. Central Command's regional headquarters and command facilities for special forces. The report comes after Qatari authorities temporarily suspended air traffic in the country's airspace. Let's go right to our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell in Tel Aviv. Ian, what do we know so far?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, in terms of facts, we know very little, but there are multiple reports out there. The facts are that Qatar closed its airspace. The facts are also that the US Embassy advised US citizens to stay indoors. There was also a warning to British citizens there as well. The UAE also reportedly closing its airspace amid the increased reports of a potential threat against the Al Udeid airbase. And as you say, this is the largest airbase for the Middle East in the region. It's important not just to house aircraft, but it's important because this is a command and control facility. It's where missions are controlled. I've been to Al Udeid in the past before and seen this huge control room where drones, aircraft are monitored and controlled. And it's possible that the attacks against Iran were orchestrated from here. We know that President Trump and the National Security Council are due to meet. They are also acutely aware of these threats. Our colleague Kira Phillips quoting a defense official saying that they don't behave like this unless the threat itself is credible. We had multiple threats, multiple warnings from Iran that they would indeed retaliate to the US strikes on 3 nuclear facilities. The latest one came from the Iranian president probably only about 40 or 45 minutes ago. He's not a key decision maker. The Ayatollah is in normal circumstances, but these are abnormal circumstances. But again, warning that there would be retaliation. Remember, President Trump and Defense Secretary Hegseth have made it very clear that if there is any kind of retaliation from Iran, that would lead to an even greater response from the United States. But there is precedent here. Remember the former head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, General Soleimani. He was assassinated back in 2020 under the first President Trump's first term in office. I was in northern Iraq when Iran responded. They fired at US bases near where we were in Erbil in the north of the country. They fired at US bases elsewhere in the country and on the border near Syria as well. So they have form, if you like. Now, that was a calibrated response. It was one for Iran to say, look, we did respond, but no further. It allowed for a de-escalation. I'm not sure we're in the same territory.
Breaking sirens sounding in Bahrain. Iran continues to fire missiles at U.S. bases. This is currently that. That was in Bahrain. China and Russia call for total ceasefire. Says just in, Iran says it fired the same amount of missiles at U.S. assets as bombs the U.S. dropped on them. Don't know if it was they're looking at it as an eye for an eye, but that's the reports coming out right now. Let's see what else we got. We got some saying that all Iranian missiles targeting the U.S. base were reportedly intercepted. But we have some folks, so we're gonna stick around and find out if we have some confirmed hits. Somebody said we have mixed reports. Some say we were able to defend against them. Others are saying 3 hit. Trying to find some more videos here. When was this one? Let me pull something else up. See if we can get some commentary in the background at least. Filter. Let's see what this one's saying. We'll go to different sources, but I just want to hear.
Been there for a very long time now. We don't have any more details from that. We have been talking to our contacts in Baghdad, and Baghdad is saying that they believe that they too are about to come under attack. Now, that is from sources in the city, very reliable sources, but we don't know exactly what sort of attack they're talking about, what would be the target. There has been an expectation there that it could be the US Embassy, but we've got no more detail other than that. So the attacks have taken place, Yelda. We talked about it a lot, didn't we? The 2 biggest air bases, the one round the corner from me, relatively speaking, is quite small, and there are many other smaller ones. Maybe they're going for the big target to make their point. Who knows? Will there be follow-ups? Who knows? Qatar is definitely saying that they have been able to defend that position. Obviously, I think Mark was making the point that this is a country that has every right to defend itself and may take an extremely dim view of what Iran has done. And certainly their initial reaction has been that it still maintains the right to react to the attacks. But they have taken place. I suppose we have to see where it goes next, particularly in Iraq, because we're just not getting the details from there yet as to whether it was a successful attack. We just simply don't know. All we know at the moment is that it appears that it was under attack. I would say that the United States government has made it clear in those press conferences after the big attacks that warnings were given to Iran and its proxies that if you attack us, we're going to come after you, and also that it's all its forces in the region, and there are at least 40,000 military personnel here. All of them were taking great care, and that there were a lot of protective systems being put in place. And I suppose we have to see whether those hold out, particularly in Iraq. We're just waiting for that detail to come. And in the background, is Baghdad going to be attacked as well? We just don't know, but that is certainly the feeling in the capital itself.
Yeah, absolutely. The entire region on high alert. Reports coming in of sirens blaring over Bahrain, Kuwait. The United Arab Emirates has closed its airspace. We've heard now and seen these images of
see if we have some updated news. Qatar's foreign ministry has released a statement saying that all Iranian missiles were intercepted and that there are currently no reported casualties. That's coming in. Just in, Iran gave advance notice of the attacks on the U.S. airbase in Qatar to minimize casualties, per New York Times. This was the outcome. That, you know, some people are speculating that we've seen the worst of it now, that this was, they've warned us and they've got their aggression out and things are going to simmer down. I don't think that at all. I think this is going to escalate. I don't think we'll stand for that. Let's see. Here we go.
Military base either. So it would seem that maybe also saying no casualties in the attack on the U.S. military base either. So it would seem that maybe, and we hope fortunately, none of the missiles actually hit the ground.
That would be an awesome feat because our missiles, our bombs did hit the ground. And it will just go to show that the testimony and the strength of our firepower. Okay, I'm going to check back in this. We're going to get to our regular show right now for those of you who've been joining us. And we do have some Iran stuff to talk about. So as you guys know, on Saturday, the United States dropped bombs on 3 separate nuclear facilities in Iran. Donald Trump's tweet was, "We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter." So that was, we did a short live. I want you to listen to some of what has gone on over the weekend. Of course, the paid social media influencers that always put out fake news, and they're paid to make Donald Trump look bad. We're all attacking Donald Trump. Listen to Marco Rubio here on Face the Nation. I think it was today's Monday. I think this was yesterday morning. Take a listen.
Have 60% enriched uranium.
Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I think that question being asked in the media, that's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
that is
everything
the
they need
key
to build a
point
weapon.
in U.S. intelligence assessments. You know that.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
The political decision had not
I know
been
that better
made.
than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But I'm asking you whether the order was given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons, because they can quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. They have. Why do they have a space program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No, they're trying to build an ICBM.
No, but that's a question. That's a question of intent, and you know, in the intelligence assessment that it was that Iran wanted to be a threshold state and use this leverage. I'm talking about the public March assessment, and that's why I was asking you if you know something more from March.
But that's also an inaccurate
representation
of it. that's an accurate representation of it. That's not how intelligence is read. That's not how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Forget about intelligence. What the IAEA knows. They are enriching uranium well beyond anything you need for a civil nuclear program. So why would you enrich uranium at 60%? Right. If you don't intend to one day use it to take it to 90 and build a weapon, right. Why are you developing ICBMs? Why do you have 8,000 short-range missiles and 2,000 to 3,000 long mid-range missiles that you continue to develop? Why do you do all these things? They have everything they need for a nuclear weapon. They have the delivery mechanisms. They have the enrichment capability. They have the highly enriched uranium that is stored. Yes. That's all we need to see. Right. Well, and especially in the hands of a regime that's already involved in terrorism and proxies and all kinds of things around. They are the source of all. Yes, and no one's disputing that. I'm not doing that here. And they were censured at the IAEA for that enrichment and for violating their non-proliferation agreements. I was simply asking if we had intelligence that there was.
Man, you got to give it up to Marco Rubio. You know, little Marco has become medium Marco. He might be big time Marco by the time this administration's over. He just clowned the hell out of fake news. And that's what we want to see. And there was folks saying that Democrats coming out and saying, oh, we need to do this. We need to vote on this. We need to do all this. Not the case. Not the case. They didn't complain when Obama, and we're going to get into that, launched thousands of missiles in his last months in office. And listen to what they say about contacting Hakeem Jeffries right here.
Partisan calls Thomas Massie and the Democrats, because he's more aligned with them than with the Republican Party. We're given notice. The White House made calls to congressional leadership. They were bipartisan calls. In fact, Hakeem Jeffries couldn't be reached. We tried him before the strike, and he didn't pick up the phone, but he was briefed after, as well as Chuck Schumer was briefed prior to the strike. So this notion that CNN ran with at the White House did not give a heads up to Democrats is just completely false. In fact, both Senator Schumer's office and CNN had to retract that story last night because it was a blatant lie. And we showed them the timestamps from those phone calls. But I want to add something to Thomas Massie's false point. The White House was not obligated to call anyone because the president was acting within his legal authority under Article 2 of the Constitution as Commander-in-Chief of the President of the United States. We gave these calls as a courtesy, and the Democrats are lying about this because they can't talk about the truth of the success of that operation and the success of our United States military and the success of this president and this administration in doing something that past administrations, Democrats too, have only dreamed about.
Calling out, obviously, there's a little war there on Thomas Massie that we're going to get into here in a little while. Also, people, we are, you have the Democrat influencers saying we didn't do no damage to any of their buildings or anything. Again, just trying to undermine our military, undermine our capabilities, and undermine the leader of the free world. Take a listen to this here.
Confident, yes, that Iran's nuclear sites were completely and totally obliterated, as the president said. We are confident, yes, that Iran's nuclear sites were completely and totally obliterated, as the president said in his address to the nation on Saturday night. And we have a high degree of confidence that where those strikes took place is where Iran's enriched uranium was stored. The president wouldn't have launched the strikes if we weren't confident in that. So this operation was a resounding success, and administration officials agree with that, as well as Israel. We are confident.
Resounding success. And then we go over here to before and after. Now, I want you to understand we use what they call bunker busters. These go down a couple 100 feet into the ground before they explode. They're not meant to take out things above the ground. They explode underneath and destroy everything underneath. Well, that's, if you heard Marco Rubio, that's where these facilities where they were enriching uranium were. And take a look at this before and after picture. That's after. That's before. Take a look right there. You can see the mountain range looks a little different now. especially right here. Take a look right here. Look at the difference. You can see that there's multiple areas that look like they definitely had some damage done. Anything to slow them down, anything to keep them from enriching uranium to nuke and bomb your children is a good day. Take a listen to Thomas
but I have
Massey
another
here.
concern,
And there's
and
a
that
war
is
going
that
on between Trump and
went on to say that they needed to act now because there was a narrow window, and if they waited, it could have been too late. And they needed to stop the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Do you not share that concern?
No, I don't share that concern. But I have another concern, and that is that 3 bombings to neutralize Iran may turn out to be the 2025 version of 2 weeks to slow the spread. This could turn into a protracted, prolonged engagement, and I'm here to represent the base of the MAGA party that got Trump elected.
He's saying he's representing the base of the MAGA party. You listen to that? The guy that's against the big, beautiful bill. And I like some of his stances on stuff. Don't get me wrong. But I love the way he's trying to play word salad.
Most of us were tired of the wars in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, and we were promised that we wouldn't be engaging in another one. Yet here we see this happening, and there's the president and the administration say, "Oh, we're done. We've had our little bombing, and now this is over." But what happens if this drags on between Israel and Tel Aviv gets pummeled by Iran? Is President Trump going to say we're going to sit by and not do anything in that instance? I'm leery of this given everything that's happened before.
So, we'll get into some of this. Trump truthed out this. Congressman Tom Massey of Kentucky is not MAGA. Even though he likes to say he is, actually, MAGA doesn't want him, doesn't know him, and doesn't respect him. He is a negative force who almost always votes no, no matter how good something may be. He is simple-minded grandstander who thinks good politics for Iran to have the highest level nuclear weapon, while at the same time yelling death to America at every chance they get. Iran has killed and maimed thousands of Americans and even took over the American embassy in Tehran under the Carter administration. We had spectacular military success yesterday, taking the bomb right out of their hands, and they would use it if they could. But as usual, and despite all of the praise and accolades received, this lightweight congressman is against what was so brilliantly achieved last night in Iran. Massey is weak, ineffective, and votes no on virtually everything put forward. Him, Rand Paul Jr., no matter how good something may be, he is disrespectful to our great military and to all that they stand for, not even acknowledging their brilliance and bravery in yesterday's attack, which was a total and complete win. Massey should drop his fake act, and start putting America first. But he doesn't know how to get there. He doesn't have a clue. He'll undoubtedly vote against the great, big, beautiful bill, even though non-passage means 68% tax increase for everybody, and many things far worse than that. MAGA should drop this pathetic loser, Tom Massey, like the plague. The good news is that we will have a wonderful American patriot running against him in the Republican primary, and I'll be out in Kentucky campaigning really hard. MAGA is not about lazy, grandstanding, non-productive politicians, of which Thomas Massey is definitely one. Thank you to our incredible military for the amazing job they did last night. It was really special. Make America great again. And old Uncle Bill, big shout out to you. Thank you so much for gifting those 5 subscriptions. We appreciate you. Thank you more than you know. Now, Democrats are coming out and saying that Trump needs to be impeached for this. Multiple Democrats. And I just love this. This was Obama calling out the hypocrisy. The year 2016, to over 26,172 bombs were dropped. In Syria, you had 12,192. In Iraq, you had 12,095. In Afghanistan, you had 1,337. Libya, 496. Yemen, 35. Somali, 14. Pakistan, 3. I mean, and that don't count that he actually bombed an American citizen. Didn't arrest him, didn't give them their due process. Take a listen to this right here.
Authorization or having conflict over that here at home. But my point,
and they are protecting American interests.
Senator, real quick, Syria, 12,100. 12,095 bombs during the last few months of President Obama's, and no one was talking impeachment or authorization or having conflict over that here at home. But my point is you served in Iraq, so you have a little bit of knowledge about all that was going on. Just real quickly, when you compare this strike and its efficacy and cloaked nature, what do you say?
Right. And I do think this was incredible. The fact that they were able to keep this secret and to move out and to move forward with this operation without it leaking, without the Iranians having any idea that this was coming, was absolutely incredible. So what I would say is for the other nations and adversaries around the world, make no mistake that America is back. We have the most lethal fighting force on the face of the planet. And when we are threatened, when we have other adversaries like Iran that have killed Americans, you better be wary, because we have the strength and now a president with the wherewithal to actually push back against those that come after American lives. So again, I can't say enough about this operation and the incredible warriors that carried this out, their entire support team.
Yep.
It truly is Team America Harris. I'm very, very proud.
So again, we love the hypocrisy. I know AOC and a few others were calling for the impeachment. Let's listen to what some other comments were. And then after we listen to a couple other comments, we're going to go back, see if there's any updates on the missile attacks this morning. And we will check that out. But listen to Krispy Kreme. You guys already know who that is, don't you?
What next? I mean, he was vowing a bigger operation, a bigger attack if Iran retaliates.
Well, that's up to Iran. And I think if Iran decides that they want to do, and I think your analogy is exactly right, it's a suicide bombing. If they decide they want to do that, I have no doubt that Donald Trump will bring more force to bear against this regime, which is probably teetering as we speak right now. So I don't think that's what the president wants to do. I think what he said last night was exactly what he believes, which is I did it to stop a nuclear powered Iran. And if they now come to the table, I'll make a deal. If they don't, and they try to attack us, we're going to go get them. And I think, John, the Democrats have been kind of tone deaf on this. And the reactions they've given so far, Congressman Himes, who I have respect for, I just think they're tone deaf on this one. The fact is, I think most Americans are going to say, if in fact this slows or prevents Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, we're for what the president did.
So there you have moderate at best, Chris Christie. And then listen to Senator John Fetterman here.
There's going to be a lot of people in my party. They're going to disagree. A lot of people in my party.
Let's pull this up right here.
There's going to be a lot of people in my party. They're going to disagree with the strike in Iran. And I actually support that. I've been always calling for that thing. I think it was entirely appropriate. And again, there might be votes on that. So for me, that's not a war. That was a very limited military exercise, and it struck that. And then that's where we're at. So really, it really wasn't about unconstitutional or it's anything like that. It was like a very, very limited military engagement, and then it took them out, damaged them severely.
So there you have John Fetterman, who sways pretty far back and forth on things. Now, really quick, let me do this really quick to see what we got here. Quick one here. This sponsorship is from Rumble, one that is incredibly important to the survival of the company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. Facebook admitted they fell to pressure from the Biden-Harris administration. Rumble did not. They held the line. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They are attacked in corporate media. They are attacked by governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive without brand advertisers because they don't get much of that. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight and if you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use promo code STUDIO. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, we're just happy that you're here to watch us on Rumble. And we do thank you guys for watching us on Rumble. It is appreciated. Now, there was also some other reactions. One reaction that's getting pretty bad is the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. I don't think any of you missed this. If you missed this, you were under a rock. So they sent out a tweet, then they edited the tweet, and then they deleted the tweet, and then they apologized for the tweet. When I say most of California needs a complete overhaul, listen to this. They put, "Our hearts go out to the victims and families impacted by the recent bombings in Iran. While this tragic event occurred overseas, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is closely monitoring the situation alongside our local, state, and federal partners. At the moment, there are no known threats to Los Angeles County. However, out of an abundance of caution, we are increasing patrol checks at places of worship and other sensitive locations throughout the county. The safety and security of our communities remain our top priority. We will continue to assess and respond to any developments as they arise. If you see something, say something. Unless they're Muslim, then you'll be considered a racist." But our hearts go out to the victims and family impacted by the recent bombings in Iran. We bombed nuclear facilities of the people that chant death to America. Can you believe that? And the Los Angeles County Sheriff's wants to put up this tweet. Of course, they edited it and then they deleted it. And I just think that's horrible. Here's the edit. This is the edit. Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is closely monitoring the situation overseas alongside our local, state, and federal partners. You have the Los Angeles County Sheriffs saying their hearts go out to the victims and families of those chanting death to America and enriching uranium in order to bomb the United States or our allies. It's insane. It's insane. Here was the message. Now, you know this was a total lie, but here's the message from the sheriff. It says, "We are issuing this statement to formally apologize for an offensive and inappropriate social media post recently posted on our department's social media platform regarding the ongoing conflict in Iran. The post was unacceptable, made in error, and does not reflect the views of Sheriff Robert G. Luna or the department. As a law enforcement agency, we do not comment on foreign policy or military matters. Our mission remains solely focused on protecting public safety and serving our diverse communities. We fully recognize that words and messages we share carry weight. As law enforcement professionals, we are entrusted with a position of public responsibility, and that trust demands that we communicate accurately. In this instant, we fell short of that expectation, and we are taking quick and corrective action. We are committed to learning from this failure to prevent such incidents from occurring again. We have updated our social media post and have launched an internal review to determine how it was created and published. Steps are being taken to strengthen our social media oversight protocols to ensure that any future communications aligns with our department's standards of professionalism, respect, and accountability. Listen to that. We have launched an internal review. They know who did it. They have a woke police department. Not all of them. There's some great sheriffs there. They are sick of their leadership, though. They want to just be able to go out and do their job and love America and love American citizens, but they're not allowed to do this. This is the same sheriff department that stands up for illegal aliens, the same ones that are destroying LA and harassing hotels and everything. And in our next show later this afternoon, if we are not stuck to this Iran bombing, we got a lot of video from the last couple days. I want you to listen to this.
The people who live there right now, you know, they have no. I'm here
Take a listen.
because I agree with everything that Trump did. I think he did on the Iran strike was good. My dad's from Isfahan, my mom's from Tehran, and they grew up there, so they know how bad it really is for the people who live there right now. You know, they have no rights. Women can't do much of anything there, and that's why I find it really weird that these people who are on the left, who are very for women rights, very for all these things that the Islamic regime in Iran is against, all of it.
So that's an Iranian right there being interviewed in Los Angeles. His parents are from two different areas in Iran. And he said, I find it ironic that the left is out here. You know, they're supposed to be for women's rights, and we know they're not for women's rights. They've proved that when they put men in women's locker rooms, boys against girls in their sports. We've seen this time and time again. They're trying to erase women, but he's actually shocked by it because this is something that has awakened him into saying, wait, what Trump did was a good thing. Maybe, just maybe, he's hoping that could lead to something good for the people of Iran. Let's see if we had another one here. Let's go back. I'm going to give you some updated news right now and see if we have any updated news on the strikes in Iran. For those of you that just joined us, or for those of you who've been here for a while, we're going to show some videos we showed when we started the show. Let's see here. I'm just pulling up some stuff. Man, a lot of this stuff left the timeline quick. Let's see what this is.
And James, what are you seeing and hearing there, and what does this mean?
And allied to Iran, there are some 40,000.
Let me pull this up. Some of the photos from earlier. And again, I don't see any confirmed. I have misinformation, I guess you could say. Here is the Patriot missiles intercepting what Iran launched at our U.S. military site over there in Qatar.
Allahu Akbar. Madam.
Little Burrito, prayers for you. Thank you for your service.
Allahu Akbar. Madam.
We had a comment on one of the other platforms that says, I'm in Prince Sultan Air Base. We just had a bunker dive. Scary stuff. Hope everyone is okay at Al Udeid Air Base. Yeah, hope you guys stay safe as well. Let me see this here. Let me pull up this one. It's official. No U.S. troops injured after Iran fires missiles at bases. 0 reports of damage.
Regime change just like they did back in 1979. So to the Iranian people, basically, why would you want to live under an authoritarian regime like they've had there since 1979? Easier said than done, of course, about, whether or not the people there can effectuate regime change just like they did back in 1979. So really, what are the aims for the White House here? How does this all play into it? And what do we expect over the next few days? It's a very fluid situation. All that up for discussion here at the White House today, as there are high-level security meetings ongoing in the West Wing.
So, the one thing that we've heard from a lot of folks that we've been in contact with who have contacts in Iran is that in terms of any kind of an organized opposition that would take over in the face of regime change or the wake of regime change, that nobody's had the time to try to organize anything at this point. We do know that the Israelis blew the gates off of the notorious Evin prison, where a lot of political prisoners who might come out to lead some sort of opposition have been housed. We don't know if anybody's managed to escape. So we'll see how that goes in the days ahead. But Jennifer, let's come back to you here.
Not aware of any casualties. That's good news. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, same thing. Iran said it fired the same amount of missiles at U.S. assets as bombs the U.S. dropped on them. This could be one of those things where you got some strong-headed people there, calling bluffs, if you will, but saying, "Hey, we're even now." Does this lead to peace or does this lead to more? We know we have jets in the area now, fighter jets in the area now. Let's move on. Now, Trump kind of tweeted our truth out, possible that he's been staying away from using the term regime change. And then last night said maybe, I think it was last night or yesterday, said maybe the people will stand up. And it seems like that's what they're pushing for, is not us to do a regime change, but the people of Iran.
On the world are asking.
The
president believes the Iranian people can control their own destiny. And what he said last night makes complete sense. If the Iranian regime refuses to come to a peaceful diplomatic solution, which the president is still interested in engaging in, by the way, why shouldn't the Iranian people take away the power of this incredibly violent regime that has been suppressing them for decades? And so our posture has not changed. Our military posture has not changed. These were decisive precision strikes that were successful on Saturday evening. But the president is just simply raising a good question that many people around the world are asking. The president believes the Iranian people.
So we'll see how that goes. I know there's some people pushing for a regime change. Listen to this too. We got another one
not
from
changed.
our
The president
sweetheart.
was just simply raising a question that I think many. How are you? Good. Caroline, when the president is floating of regime change, how does he believe that should be accomplished? Through the Iranians, the Israelis, or the Americans? The president's posture and our military posture has not changed. The president was just simply raising a question that I think many people around the world are asking. If the Iranian regime refuses to give up their nuclear program or engage in talks, we just took out their nuclear program on Saturday night, as you all know. But if they refuse to engage in diplomacy moving forward, why shouldn't the Iranian people rise up against this brutal terrorist regime? That's a question the president raised last night. But
same kind of response there. And Hito says, I heard that Iran gave them the heads up and Americans were evacuated. Yes, they did give the heads up. And nobody was hurt. And it was all for Iran to save face so peace talk could start. That's a possibility. We will find out. It says, Jalen says, you look better, Josh. Hope you are feeling better. Put this in the jar, old Uncle Bill, for someone else to win. Thank you, Jalen. Appreciate you. A little bit better, a little bit. But I'm still, you know what it could be? It could be a combination of my NyQuil hangover, but I still a little weak. But you know what? We're going to try to get through today. We're going to try to get to the gym. We're going to try to do 2 full shows today. So hopefully, we're feeling a lot better though. I can tell you that much. Yesterday, I'm not weak now. So hopefully I'm on the tail end of things. And I know some other people that were ill over the last couple of days. And I tell you, they had it much worse than I did, at least with the symptoms. I think mine were just my body fighting it. So I didn't get it as bad as I could have. My throat started to hurt, but it went away. So I was happy. I didn't want a sore throat. Let's take a look at this. This was before the attacks, but take a listen to Bill Malugin on our bases in the area and what that looks like.
All right, welcome back. Want to reset, talk about where we are now and where we might be going. Comes to Operation Midnight Hammer and the situation in Iran. So taking a look once again to recap what we did over the weekend. The U.S. attacking 3 separate Iranian nuclear sites. Isfahan, where they got a bunch of underground tunnels with enriched uranium. Natanz, and then the big one at Fordo. That is where we used 12 different bunker busters, waiting for damage assessments from those. But the question is, what, if any, responses are going to be from the Iranians next? Keep in mind, we've got about 40,000 U.S. military personnel sprinkled throughout bases all within the Middle East, going from Turkey all the way down to Qatar and the UAE. Remember, back in 2020, it was Al Assad Air Base in Iraq, where the Iranians decided to shoot ballistic missiles in response to the strike against Soleimani. Then down here in Qatar, we've got Al Udeid Air Base. That is our biggest base in all of the Middle East. That's where CENTCOM also has some of their headquarters. The question also, what's going to happen here on U.S. soil? The potential threat of Iranian sleeper cells. We talk about.
And we're going to talk about this a lot more in our next show, guys. But when we were at the border, how many of you watched those people that were hiding their faces from the camera, running to Border Patrol, but hiding their faces from independent media, from countries with a lot of terrorism?
Out the open border the last 4 years. Take a look at this data. CBP sources telling Fox News, from 2021 to 2024, under the Biden administration, just over 1,500 Iranians were caught by Border Patrol crossing the southern border illegally. Of that, almost half of them, 729, were released into the U.S. That is 48%. That also does not account for the more than 2 million known gotaways who slipped across the southern border during that time. From
729 that were released into this country. And again, the gotaways are the big ones. The gotaways are the ones I worry about. Those people that run, wear camo, they pay a good amount of money to get smuggled into the United States because they don't want the government to know they're here. But that's still pretty scary. That's still pretty scary. Let me skip over those. We already did this. This was actually before the attack too. Again, this whole show was set up prior to the attack.
But my message to the Iranians is it would
bracing for Iran to target American troops in the region.
We're, of course, Kristen, doing everything that we can to keep our people safe. I think that we're prepared in the event that the Iranians do retaliate. But my message to the Iranians is it would be the stupidest thing in the world if they did. If you look at what happened last night, we had an incredibly targeted, precise, surgical strike on the nuclear facilities that are the target of the American operation. Our national interest is for Iran to not get a nuclear weapon. Our strikes last night facilitated that national objective. If the Iranians want to enlarge this by attacking American troops, I think that would be a catastrophic mistake. And as the president said last night, the Iranians would be met with then overwhelming force beyond that. So this is a very delicate moment, Kristen. I don't want to pretend that it's not. But I think the Iranians, if they're smart, they're going to have to look in the mirror and say, hey, maybe we're not so good at this war thing. Let's give peace a chance. Let's drop our nuclear weapons program and start to make some smarter decisions. We're, of course, hoping that's exactly what the Iranians do.
So I guess the question is now, does the United States retaliate? I think one of the best weapons we could use in Iran is this. In my opinion, drop off 150 or so of these sexy goats and let nature take its course. Did he really just put that up on there? I guess he did. Now, Trump also tweeted this out truthed this out today. It says, did I hear from former President Medvedev from Russia casually throwing around the N-word, nuclear, and saying that he and other countries would supply nuclear warheads to Iran? Did he really say that, or is it just a figment of my imagination? If he did say that, and if confirmed, please let me know immediately. The N-word should not be treated so casually. I guess that's why Putin's the boss, by the way. If anyone thinks our hardware was great over the weekend, far and away the strongest and best equipment we have, 20 years advanced over the pack, is our nuclear submarines. They are the most powerful and lethal weapons ever built and just launched the 30 Tomahawks. All 30 hit their mark perfectly. So in addition to our great fighter pilots, thank you to the captain and crew. So he definitely going off there. I can't wait to hear what the response is from Putin or the other folks. Now, there is a high national security threat that's been issued for the United States because of Joe Biden's open borders and the sleeper cells that we know are in the country. I want you to listen to Secretary Kristi Noem from DHS.
And law enforcement to make sure that they recognize potential.
Yeah, quick question on
Sure.
Iran. As we have currently missiles raining down on a U.S. force in Qatar, what is your biggest concern when it comes to safety for Americans?
Well, you know, the President of the United States is making some very important decisions right now. My responsibility is to secure the homeland, and to do all I can to make sure that we're identifying threats that may be here, what we can do to get in front of them before anything could happen to the population that live here in the United States, but also to work with our local governors and law enforcement to make sure that they recognize potential threats or suspicious activity. So that's what we have not seen any currently, but I do know that I'm going to leave here and go get some intelligence briefings and need to get into a secure area for some new information. So I'll know more later.
Thank you.
Are you particularly concerned about the 1,500 internationals that entered during the Biden administration, or were arrested rather, and then half of whom are within the U.S.?
No, we did see thousands of people come into our country over an open border under the Biden administration that came from the Middle East. We have always been aware of the fact that some of these folks that may have come into our country could have potentially been radicalized radicalized. And so that is why we continue every day to go out and identify individuals that could be a threat to our homeland. And we'll continue to work to do that. We recognize that as tensions escalate, that means that there could be more potential for threats here at home. And so that's why we're at an elevated threat right now, and we'll continue to stay diligent.
Ahead of events like July 4th, is there a particular concern ahead of future events like that, sleeper cells?
You know, there's been concern since I took this job. We have incredible threats to this country from many nations that are enemies to the United States of America. You know, it's not just Iran, it's North Korea, Russia, China. Consistently, every single day, are trying to threaten our way of life. So my job is to do all that I can to protect our country before something bad does happen.
When we talk about sleeper cells, a lot of the past, like in terms of hits on the president and other U.S. officials, those have been carried out, at least according to prosecutors, by individuals hired here, not sleeper cells. Is there a concern of something
We've seen
different?
both. We've seen some from overseas and some that have been here, maybe gone overseas for a short period of time, become radicalized and come back, or individuals that are right here in the United States. So we have to watch for all of it and to be diligent on all of it, and we'll continue to do so.
And what information do we know right now in regards to those sleeper cells? How is DHS tracking and following and seeking information in regards to
I
them?
can't necessarily share that with you, but I will tell you that we are continuing to evaluate every single threat and to proactively.
So again, there was a threat issued. Also, Trump put out there, everyone keep oil prices down. I'm watching. You're playing right into the hands of the enemy. Don't do it. To the Department of Energy, drill, baby, drill. I mean now. Again, protecting us, the consumers here in the United States, because again, speculation can draw higher prices. And depending on what happens any further, we could be taken advantage of, and Trump's not going to let that happen. This was yesterday, almost at midnight, or yesterday. It expires on September 22nd. And this is from DHS Secretary herself. It says the ongoing Iran conflict is causing a heightened threat environment in the United States. Low-level cyber attacks against U.S. networks by pro-Iranian hacktivists are likely, and cyber actors affiliated with the Iranian government may conduct attacks against U.S. networks. Iran also has a long-standing commitment to target U.S. government officials it views as responsible for the death of Iranian military commander killed in January 2020. The likelihood of violent extremism in the homeland, independently mobilizing to violence in response to the conflict, would likely increase if Iranian leadership had issued a religious ruling calling for retaliatory violence against targets in the homeland. Multiple recent homeland terrorist attacks have been motivated by anti-Semitic and anti-Israel sentiment, and the ongoing Israel-Iran conflict could contribute to the U.S.-based individuals plotting additional attacks. So we'll see how that goes over there. Now we're going to move on. Again, we got a second show later today. We'll cover any updates. And old Uncle Bill gifted a subscription to the Oreo Express. Thank you so much. And if you guys aren't aware, we do have a raffle going on. We will do Friday. Before we get into this next one, I think you guys are going to think this is insane. But we have some of the souvenirs from our Army Parade 250th birthday celebration in DC. And the way you get in is every donation of $10 gets you one entry. So if you get $30 donation, you'll get 3 entries, and we will choose on Friday. If we end up going out of town on Friday, there's a possibility we could leave Thursday. I will do the raffle before we leave. So it'll be an early raffle, not a later raffle. Here's a couple items right here that are in that raffle. You got the U.S. Army hat that was bought in DC at the military parade. You have this was a souvenir from DC. Absolutely epic. The Trump 2028 hat. Everybody wants that one. You got this Trump 2024, the fight, fight, fight magnet. Nice little magnet there. And then you have this double XL Army 250 shirt. Again, that's a double XL. And then we have this that was donated by my sister when she went to the Gulf of America, a large Gulf of America t-shirt. So those items, if you want to get in, again, donations through Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $Oreo Army, givesendgo.com/Oreo 2024. And then we also have, if you do mobile or online banking, we have our Zelle link on our website, theoreoexpress.com. You can scroll down our homepage and there's a donate now button with those links. And also the other way you can do it is right here on Rumble with a Rumble rant. So if you do a $20 Rumble rant, you'll get 2 entries in. And again, want to say thank you for everybody who helps us out. We are 100% viewer funded. Lights, camera, action, travel, food, everything's paid for by you, the viewer, and we are grateful and thankful for that. How many people know this guy? Down for you. Hit the ground for you. Time for you. Give a crown to you. Bow down for you. Hit the ground for you. For you. Go ahead, make a rap for your naughty. It's a rap. Get the guap, spin the rack on your naughty. Spin the rack. Come through, give a dab to your naughty. If you really feeling good, spin a track for your naughty. Go ahead, make a rap for your naughty. It's a rap. Get the guap, spin the rack on your naughty. Spin the rack. Come through, give a dab to your naughty. If you really feeling good, spin a track for your naughty. I You know who that is right there? That is a failed rapper who in the latest polling is now beating Cuomo for the mayor of New York City. And we covered some of his stuff a couple weeks ago. I said, be on the lookout. Played a couple of his videos. Said this is something that I mean, Cuomo's bad. Don't get me wrong. Cuomo should be in jail for all the people he killed during the COVID pandemic. But take a look at the poly market right now. Zoran Mamdani, 54% on the poly market right now. If you look at how crazy that went and how quickly things changed in that election, that is insane. And I want to go through and show you some stuff. If you're in New York City or know somebody that's in New York City, I would never say vote for Cuomo, but don't vote for Zoran. Take a look at this. This is another poll. 52 to 48%. He is a jihadist Muslim. He is also a communist. And what we've seen leaders like him do in other cities or even foreign countries. Take a look at this. Take a look at
to show that Muslims don't just belong in New York City, we also belong in City Hall. Alhamdulillah, there are 1 million Muslims in this city. 200,000 of us are registered to vote as Democrats. In the last election, 7% of us voted. Now, I will not blame anyone because often it feels like there isn't much to vote for. But this June 24th, with early voting starting tomorrow, it is an opportunity for us to show that Muslims don't just belong in New York City, we also belong in City Hall. Because yesterday I stood on the debate and Andrew Cuomo stood next to me. And here was a man who was the governor for a decade. And he could not name a single mosque he had ever visited.
See, this isn't this is far beyond a typical election. You shouldn't again, when they're asking for a vote because they're Muslim, again, this is what unvetted and just immigration of Muslims have done to this country and how they've destroyed so many areas of the United States. If you remember parts of Minneapolis, where Ian Omar's from, if you want to see more of that, then elect this man. I can promise you, and we'll talk about what will happen if he's elected. Listen to this. Now, we've talked about this, and we talked about this probably happening with the communist socialist in San Francisco because they have defunded the police. They do nothing about the crime. Grocery stores are closing. A lot of these low-income households have no transportation to get out of their community to go buy grocery stores at a store that remains open. And I said, they will put in communist grocery stores, government controlled, like you see in North Korea. Listen to this.
Grocery prices are out of control. The cost of eggs and milk has skyrocketed. Some stores are even using dynamic jacking up the cost over the course of a day depending on what they can get away with. It doesn't need to be this way. I'm Zahran Mamdani, and as mayor, I will create a network of city-owned grocery stores. It's like a public option for produce. We will redirect city funds from corporate supermarkets to city-owned grocery stores, whose mission is lower prices, not price gouging. These stores will operate without a profit motive or having to pay property taxes or rent, and will pass on those savings to you.
So if they don't have to pay rent, who pays for it? When they're selling things under the cost, who pays for it? This is just another cost to the taxpayer. Again, totally trying to kill capitalism. Instead of doing things to enrich the lives of the community, to let them earn more money with less regulations, which is what Trump is doing. Wages have risen since Trump's been in office more than they did the entire time under Joe Biden. True wages, what they call real wages. And this, again, is not an answer. This is, again, your road to depend on the government for everything. And that should be scary to anybody. Let's see what this one was. He also wants to spend $65 million on trans medical treatment, including for minors, if elected for New York City mayor. Again, that $65 million is your taxpayer dollars. This was him. We played this the day it happened. When Tom Homan was in New York, look at the way this guy was, and you can imagine who will run the streets even more, which would be illegal aliens, and especially Muslims, if this person is elected. Take a look.
How many more New Yorkers want charged? Do you believe in the First Amendment? Do you believe in the First Amendment, Tom Homan? How many more New Yorkers want to charge red targets?
That's when he was confronting Tom Homan, our border czar, for doing and, in effect, finally putting our federal laws on the book. He wants to defund the police. He joined anti-Tesla riots. And all I want to say is, if you live in New York and you think, well, maybe this is change, maybe this is somebody who's a little bit better than the norm, maybe better than Cuomo, I can promise you, all those big businesses, they'll leave and they'll be pushed out of New York. They will run to Florida. That is a promise. And New York will be a ghost town when it comes to those businesses. They're not going to play that games. They're not going to pay those taxes. They're not, again, they cannot, and either can the citizens, afford communism. It's just absolutely insane. Before we head on out, let me see if there is anything else that popped up recently. Pretty much an all clear right now. It says it's the end of danger for now. And that's it. We will be doing a second show, probably 3 o'clock Pacific, which is 3.5 hours away, 6 o'clock Eastern. I want to say thank you. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Please share this out. You guys sharing this out, it makes a huge difference, and bringing the family together and bringing more people to the Oreo Army. Again, we have our raffle going on. If you want to join, now's the time. Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App $Oreo Army, givesendgo.com/Oreo 2024. And then we also have, if you do mobile or online banking, our Zelle link is on our website, theoreoexpress.com. It's under the Donate Now button. And once again, we thank everybody, and we will see you here shortly. God bless.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
The Oreo Express, where truth don't hide and we don't second guess. Unapologetic, we're bold and we're loud, shining light on the left shady crowd. Oreo Express, rolling down the track, exposing the lies, ain't no turning back. Conservative fire, we're speaking the truth. At Oreo Express, this one's for you. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express, let's roll, let's go. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express, let's roll.